Good morning. Happy Monday. I hope the start of your week is finding you well. I'm Shelby and we are in Shelb's Crafty VIP. Today we are going to make a fall wreath. I know we made a fall centerpiece last week, but it's fall. This wreath I have is going to a coordinating garland that I have done that y'all are probably looking forward to doing a garland. We will be soon, I promise. So we're going to start off with a 24-inch evergreen pine base. This I got from Sims Pottery, but Hobby Lobby has theirs out right now, and they are 40% off, so stock up. You cannot beat about $7 for a wreath base. This one only cost me about $7, but after the shipping for it, ended up being about $13. So stock up on those Hobby Lobby bases while you can. I have already fluffed this out so that it's ready to go. We are going to start off with a 21-inch burlap mesh from Hobby Lobby, a 10-inch burlap with copper mesh from Hobby Lobby, a 10-inch burlap plaid from Hobby Lobby, and a 10-inch copper-ish, and this came from Ellis Home and Garden, but Hobby Lobby has similar colors, and you obviously get mesh on Craft Outlet and the Reshop and Deco Exchange. So what we're going to do first is, usually I take my bases, push them together to make more of an oval shape. My customer wanted a round wreath. She did not want it oval, so we are going to leave it round. Actually, I say we're going to leave it round. She's not going to know. We are going to push it in slightly because it's so much easier, and it gives the eye, it catches the eye so much more on the door with an elongated look, and it holds your pieces better, especially if you use big characters in your wreaths. So this is just a partial roll. We're going to see how far it gets us. We're going to use this as a big filler before we start adding in our 10-inch. So I'm just going to take the end, and I'm just going to drop it to the floor. Now I'm going to have to, I chopped this off last time. It's very uneven. So I'm going to even this out a little bit. Make it a little bit easier to deal with. Okay, so I'm going to take my end and I'm just going to gather it in my hand. I'm going to start up here at the top. I guess we'll call this the top. I'm going to put it in between two pine tines, push it down in there, and make sure those are good and tight. And now I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to start looping, because this is just going to be a base layer to give us some coverage. And we're going to kind of go through the center of the wreath. So we're going to make a small loop. Make sure your edges aren't sticking out too much. That's going to show in your wreath and it's going to snag. Make a small loop. Put it in between the pine. And twist. And we are going to work this process all the way around, or as far as this roll will get us. That's the wonderful thing about a base layer of mesh, is that you cannot see the majority of it, which means a lot of times you can't tell if it's messed up. You can't tell that if you've gotten off pattern, if one loop is bigger than the other. You just really can't tell. Now, if you are working on a work form, excuse me, I'm almost over it, guys. If you're working on a work form, now your mesh does need to be a little bit better, because that is what the base is mesh. And you don't necessarily cover those up because there's not a lot of places to put a lot of things. And so a lot of people make their wreaths like that. But here in the Crafty VIP, we like over the top wreaths. We like the big, juicy wreaths. And so you won't see me use a work form unless it is requested by someone in the group one day for a tutorial. You won't see me use a work form. Just because I stock up on these and I like the coverage. I just like them better. Perfect. So we have the perfect amount to get once around the wreath. We're going to make one more loop over this little tail. Oh, it's wanting to curl on me. We're going to go next to this poof. Stick it in between two ties. And twist. And with our excess, we're just going to go in. Make sure those ties are tight on your end pieces so they don't slide back through. We're just going to trim that off nicely. And that'll get covered up with our 10-inch. So we're going to move this out of the way for just a second. And I'm going to cut some 10-inch. Now we're alternating 3 of them, so we don't need a huge amount for our wreath. And y'all know here in the VIP, I don't measure. I just have it against me. I pull it out about as far as my arm will go straight and cut. But I would say, well, let's measure real quick. Just so you know approximately how I cut them. Just by eyeballing it. 20.5 inches. So yeah, between 17 and 20 inches. 17 is going to be on the shorter side. I like a little bit fuller of a curl. So 20 inches seems to be about where my eyeball goes. All right, I think that's enough of those. I'm going to cut some of this. Now see, this one is very, very thick. So it doesn't even need to be quite as long, or else it's just going to make a big, thick curl. As always, make sure you get a good pair of scissors. The ones I use from Deco Exchange, I like those. I like these two from Walmart. They're about the same price and they're long, so it cuts the mesh quicker. All right, we're gonna get one more piece, actually 2. This is long enough to get 2 out of. And it's not stapled, it's taped on the end, so you don't have to worry about ripping it out. I'm just gonna hold that in, I'm just gonna cut it in half. Of these. I hope everyone had such a good weekend. I know I did. Oh, and I lost one. We had a family reunion on my grandfather's side of the family for the first time in 16 years. And so we did that on Saturday, and that was a lot of fun. A lot of people came, even though it's a pandemic. I think everyone was vaccinated, I hope. It was a really good time. Cut this tag off of this wreath. And I think what I'm going to do now, you guys, since I have my mesh here on my table, is I'm going to move you up to the stand. That way you'll have a full front view of what I'm doing. So move you guys up to where you can see really well. There we go. That should be a good view. If I don't get in your way too much, I'm gonna try not to. Maybe just a little bit more. There we go. That should give you a close-up view so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we're gonna take our 10-inch. Doesn't matter what color you start with. We're just gonna start with one. And remember, hold it against your chest. Let it roll in by itself a little bit. Gently roll it in. Stop about here and just gather it. It's called a cruffle method. It's a cruffle ruffle. And we are just gonna start adding. We're gonna start first with the outer ring. So basically we're gonna go along in between our poofs and start adding these in. And I know you see a lot of pine exposed. I promise that's gonna go away. So I'm gonna alternate. I'm gonna put the burlap in the middle, in between the two deco mesh. So anyway, we have the family reunion Saturday, and then Sunday we had a spur of the moment trip to medieval times in Dallas. I know there's some all over the country, but I've been wanting to take my youngest son for a while. And so we went on Sunday spontaneously, which those are the best trips. And we had such a good time. He loved it. Of course, he had to buy souvenirs. And so he got a shield and an axe and a flag, and it was for a birthday party that we weren't going to until last minute. And so they had, oh my gosh, so much food. It was ridiculous. We were so full. 2 desserts, a smoothie souvenir. It was crazy, but it was a good time. Okay, so we're still just gonna add along this outer ring, alternating with our colors. I got my, there we go. This, where's my top? It's wanting to move on me. There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed the 2 tutorials last week of the centerpiece and how I make my hand bow. I had planned on doing this one for Saturday, but we had the reunion, and then Sunday, you know, just spent the weekend together. All my kids are in school now, so the weekends are our only time for family time. So we try to make it count. But mostly in this group, you're gonna get 2 tutorials a week, sometimes 3. So you might get a full tutorial and then a small little tip or trick or how-to. You might get 3 full tutorials, 2 full tutorials and a small tutorial. I'm gonna try to get you guys as much content as I can every single week. And then once we get more group members, we'll start doing live question and answers. But until then, I made a post on the page, and if you go to the top of the group and click the little magnifying glass, which is the search icon, you can type in question, you can type in Q&A, anything like that, and it's gonna pull up the post that I have in there for you guys. And if you just comment on there in that post with a question, I'll respond. And if it requires a detailed response, I'll go live and answer it. If it's something I think that the group needs to know too, I'll do that. So never hesitate to ask any questions on the tutorial link either, anywhere. You guys never hesitate to get your questions answered, because that is what this group is for. It is for detailed instruction. Not just on how to make a wreath, that's just 50% of it, but how to grow your business. This might just be a hobby of yours, and that's totally fine. So then you're getting that content on how to make wreaths and garlands and centerpieces and all that fun stuff. But if you are wanting to do this as a side hustle or as your main business, then you're in the right spot. And I'm not done growing my business. Not even a little bit. I'm just getting started. So I'm researching and I'm learning. And in turn, I bring that content to you. And so we are going to learn and grow together. So any questions you have, not just about wreath making, but about Etsy or Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest, just let me know. I sell... Etsy is my shop. That's where I sell. I don't have a website. I don't do Shopify. Etsy is where I sell my wreaths. Why? Because Etsy is established and it is designed for homemakers. It already has an established audience that when they are looking for something homemade and unique, they go to Etsy. They don't go to Google. They don't go to the store. They go directly to Etsy. And so they have already built that audience for you. And so they've taken the work out of it, basically. And so if you need help starting your Etsy shop, getting it going, how to make a listing, which Etsy has a ton of resources themselves. They have a step-by-step guide, handbook, and everything on how to get started. But if you need some help and some insight, I'm here for you. Okay, I think we got our outer ring completed. Now we're going to work our way inside and cover up a little bit of that. This does not want to stay on my stand. Okay, guys, I hope that was a good view for you. I'm still working out everything on what I think is a good view for you guys, but I hope you liked that. I hope that was good. Okay, let's move to the inside. We're not going to do anything crazy in here. Just getting us some coverage. I'm going to try to alternate. So the plaid's here, so I'm going to take a different one and go above it. No, you're not going to be able to see a lot of this, but in my head, I know that it coordinates a little bit, and it's not just the same pattern going together. And around the edges, if you see holes where there's some might be needed, we can put some in there as well. We're going to go around that. We run on the outside, and we're going to go the inside, and then we're going to fill in any holes that we feel like need a little piece. And I'm using this mesh because it's what I use on the garland. It's what I have on the garland. That way it coordinates. I think we're going to take a piece of burlap. This hole right here is bothering me. I'm going to go right here for a fill in. Now also, if you know where you're placing your bow, if you have an idea of where you're going with that, you can make the mesh a little lighter in that area. That way you don't have a hard time getting your bow in there because it's going to pop off anyway. You don't want it sticking out all bulky by itself. Which my bow is going to go here, top left. That's mostly where I put my bows. If I put them anywhere else, it would be bottom right. I'm left-handed though, and so that's where my eye is drawn to. That's 95% of my designs is that's where my bow is going to go. And you guys, putting on your mesh and making your bow and putting in your ribbon is the most time-consuming part of making a wreath. The last part of it, of filling it with all the goodies, is the fun part and the easiest. And the fastest. So just take your time, enjoy the process of it. You're just building your base. Your base is what's going to make your wreath. Because if you don't have a good base and you start putting your products in, it's going to look so wonky. It's not going to look well. Okay, I think we are done with our mesh. Now look how full that is. Obviously, it looks like a little bit of nothing right now, but we're getting there. Really want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. Hey, and that was only 19 minutes. Go us. Probably because I talk too much. Hope y'all don't mind that. Hope y'all don't also mind just getting drunk when I moved you around. Okay, so we got our mesh done. Now we're going to make our bow. I'm going to use the same ribbons that I used on the garland, obviously. And so I used some of these in the centerpiece the other day. This one right here, though, is new and is a D. Stevens ribbon. I can get D. Stevens ribbon. I love D. Stevens ribbon. It's very elegant. They have so many different designs. It's beautiful, beautiful ribbon. It's very good quality. These other two, this came from Ribbons and Bows on Facebook, and this also did. But Hobby Lobby has the same rust ribbon, and you can get different other plaids at Craft Outlet and things like that. So we're going to build our bow. Oh, here, and we're going to use this just basic brown as our button. I told y'all this last time. We didn't on the centerpiece, but on wreaths and garlands, 4 inch is my go-to, because any other, if you use 2.5 inch, it's not going to just give you that lush fullness that you're looking for on your bow. So I am going, this is a linen ribbon. And so it has wire, it holds well, but it's a little floppy. I'm gonna make a big bow with it that I like. And you're gonna see when we put it in here, it's gonna go up here. So always use wired ribbon, but even if it's a little floppy, we're gonna glue the back of it to that burlap to hold it up. So I guess let me move you down so you can see me make this bow. Excuse my floor. Okay, here we go. Okay, so taking my 4 inch, extending it out for my top tail. I'm just gonna grab it a little bit and I'm gonna make a loop. Okay, I'm gonna make a pretty good sized loop because this is the main ribbon to my bow. So now I'm gonna take my little button. And I'm gonna take it as I'm holding my loop. I'm gonna bring me another tail. I'm gonna make me another loop with this button, and I'm gonna cut it off. Now I'm gonna hold this in here and separate the tails. And so now I'm holding it with this loop. And I'm gonna take this ribbon again, and I'm going to just bring it up and gather it. So see, I'm holding it, there's like a loop in the bottom. I'm gathering it together. I'm gonna make another loop. Make sure they're the same size. And here's the main portion of my bow. Now I am not gonna cut this off yet because I'm probably gonna make it another loop onto the wreath. So I'm gonna leave that connected for right now. I'm gonna take my 2 other ribbons now, and I'm gonna make loops on either side. So I'm gonna take my tail, gather it, make a loop, and snip it. Now I'm gonna go up under here, and I'm gonna have to twist that first tail. That way both of the patterns are sticking out. So I got that first loop, and now I'm gonna make my second one. Now these are a little hard to hold in your hand. They do get a little bit wonky on you because they want to move around, but we're gonna make our loops mostly, and then we'll adjust before we tie it up. So we're just gonna come in here, we're gonna make another loop right next to that one. And you want these to be kind of the same size. And I'm gonna snip it. And that's a 2-sided ribbon, so I don't have to go in there and twist it. And I'm gonna separate them out. That way my tails are intermingling. See, pattern, solid, pattern, solid. Now I'm coming to my other side. You can turn this around if you want. I always find that I mess it up more if I try to turn it around in my hand. So we're not gonna do that. I'm just gonna come in here, stick that piece in there, and just use my thumb as my guide. I'll fix it myself, then use my thumb to hold it. And then I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna take the pattern, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come in here, use my thumb as my guide, make a loop, go ahead and cut it. And I'm going to come in here and twist up underneath again. So I have my patterns out, and I'm going to make sure my tails are in the right spot. You want to make sure your tails are mostly in the right spot before you go tying this up, or else you're not going to be able to fix it once you get it tied. Now, this one, when you put it on the wreath, you're going to take your 2 big 4 inches. You're going to spread them out like this. So if you put a tie around here, it's kind of hard to tie it down. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to tie this wreath. I know this is going to be going down the wreath, so this is my top. This side is going to be facing the outside, and that's where we're going to tie it down at. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a pipe cleaner. And we're going to put it in here as part of this bow. It's going to go right here with these loops. I'm just going to stick it right in there, just like that. Now, I'm going to take a zip tie, and that's how we're going to tie it off. So we're going to take this zip tie, we're going to go right around the center. Oh, my coffee pot just went off. I don't even think I finished my first cup this morning. All right. I kind of let my bow go a little bit, but that's okay. And we're going to zip tie this off. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit to where it's kind of holding everything in place. I'm going to make sure everything's fixed up the way I want it before I tighten it too much. So I'm going to move one of these tails over here. That way, when it gets on our wreath, we have wispy tails. So we're going to move this tail over here and this one here. We're going to make sure everything looks good. See, these tails aren't overlapping anymore, and so I need them to. There we go. Okay. Now we can tighten this baby up. Now we know those ribbons aren't going anywhere. Snip that off. And now we have our tie here. We don't have to worry about it coming loose while we're trying to tie it in. And look at that beautiful bow. Isn't it so cute? It's such a different style, but I love it because it looks so big on a wreath. All right, I'm going to move you back up, and we're going to get everything put on this beautiful wreath. Okay. I'll still have this roll of ribbon intact. We're going to take our two big pieces, separate those out, and then these little ones are going to follow when you do that. And there's our pop cleaner. I'm going to twist it once around that zip tie just to kind of hold it in place. Hold the pop cleaner in place. That zip tie's not going anywhere. All right, and then we're going up top. Gonna find where we want it, which I think is right here. And we're gonna run it in there. Now, because I'm tying it to this outside, it's gonna pull this way a little bit. So I'm not going to the outside of my wreath to place it. I'm going more toward the inside because it's gonna pull it away. And I'm gonna go right above this poof, and I'm gonna go right in here, and I'm gonna tie it to the wire of the base, the metal, the actual base itself, that first ring. I'm just gonna get in there, and not too tight, so I'm not trying to suck my ribbon down in there like that. But you want it tight enough because you don't want your ribbon going anywhere. You don't want a big old floppy bow blowing in the wind all messed up and stuff. Okay, and I just tied that off, and I'll go back there before I give it to my customer, and I'll just clean everything up. All right, so now we can get to fixing this and how we want everything to go. All right, so there's one tail of my button. There's two tails there and two tails here. We're gonna go to this side. Where did these tails go? Oh, they're all up here. We're gonna move these down. There's my other button tail. One pattern, one solid, and then one pattern and one solid. That way we got some nice wispiness going on. Just like that. All right. Now this other part, we're going to take it and we're going to make a loop. So we're just going to run our hand and make a pretty little loop. We're going to gather it here. We're going to stick it inside of our wreath. Try to get behind that mesh and get it in there. That way it looks like it's coming from your wreath and not just sitting on top of it. I have a nice soft little loop that just adds that texture, extends your bow down. All right, let's cut that off. Now, a lot of people wait to dovetail their ribbon till they're done. I cannot, because I need to see exactly what it looks like while I'm working around it. So remember, we're taking our ribbon, we're folding it wire to wire, and we're cutting up, just like that. That way you know what your tails look like, because to me the bow just looks totally unfinished, and it's going to bother me the whole time if I don't have everything cut. Now it's floppy, so you don't want it too long or it's going to fly around out there in the wind. Or fall over, and that won't look good either. Oops, making a mess. All right, there's our big old juicy bow. And look how much coverage you're already getting with just that bow on your wreath. And we're not even done adding ribbon. Now we're gonna go around and add more ribbon. So what we're gonna do, I don't know if I think I have a lot of that ribbon going on. I don't know if I don't want another one on that side. So what we're gonna do is probably just make a couple of tails of this. And add it with some more tails. We might even make a little loopy loop right here. I think we will. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, I'm just gonna gather it, I'm gonna make one loop. And that's it. Just one loop. I'm gonna cut it off. And I'm gonna take my other ribbons and I'm also gonna make loops. So we're making like a mini bow, just with one loop of each ribbon. We're going to come at it right down here. So then we look like we have a little mini bow just coming out of our wreath. We're going to go in here. This little orange one is not. I'm going to make sure sometimes that your ribbons are pinched good, especially the little ones, because if they're flat, they don't project well. Takes away their wispiness. I use that word a lot, apparently. I didn't realize just how much. I'm just going to take some pine tines, tie those in, and fluff them out. That loop's a little big. I'm going to pull it through a little. There we go. So now you have your colors just drawn down with the eye. Just like that. And as we go, as we add stuff, we'll fluff those out. These are my favorite ones to cut ribbons with. So sharp. I know one day that I'm going to snag a finger, and it's probably going to be on a video with you guys, so y'all are going to have to watch that go down. That should be fun. All right, so we're going to go around and we're just going to add some tails. So I'm going to add one more tail of this up here. That way it kind of gives it 4 points of access. We have one here, 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 and here. But also, this isn't a big one, so it kind of gives it more of a triangle effect. I like the way things are done in threes. You don't have to do things in odd numbers if you don't want to. It just depends on what you're making. A lot of times odd numbers, they work for me. They're just aesthetically pleasing, I guess you could say. All right, so we're just going to go around and add some tails of our other colors. And I think I'm going to do pattern on top, and I'll probably alternate. I'm going to go ahead and clip these tails while I have it down here. $36 Wow, we're not doing bad. We're going to have our wreath done in under an hour. Then you can have it done, you can sell it, and you're moving on with your day for 1 hour worth of work. It's not too shabby, I would say. Not shabby at all. And we're just going to work our way around the wreath with a few of these tails. Just, again, as part of our base. We are still working on our base. Building it up. I keep stepping on stuff I have down here. Oh my gosh. Little berries and stuff that fall off. And I'm just alternating. See, I have the plait up top, and then I have it on bottom, and put it back on top. That way it doesn't just all look the same as you're going around the wreath. So we're gonna go down here on the bottom. I'm gonna place one here. And then we're also gonna go behind our bow and place one. It just carries it out. That way your bow's not just sitting up there looking all lonely, standing out by itself. It's got some depth and dimension. That's what you definitely want in your projects. You need depth and dimension. That's the tricky part of designing, is like when I started first designing, I could not figure out how to get it. It was kind of like I would make a wreath and everything was just kind of sitting on top, is what it felt like. And like, I don't know how to get the, you know, the eye appeal that I'm looking for. And it's all about the little details and the depth and dimension. So you got to make sure you're getting a full coverage on your wreath. Okay, I think we're good on our ribbon. I think that looks good. And we might, if we need to, we can go back and add more, but I think we're looking pretty good. Okay, what we're going to add next is our main component. That way we can work around it. This is a beautiful glitter pumpkin that I got at Old Time Pottery. It's like one of my last pieces I have from there. I'm so sad. I cannot believe I didn't buy more when I was there in Florida. Now I'm in Texas and we don't have one. So it's my last one. On the garland, they have a bunch of these at Hobby Lobby, of the small ones. And so a bunch of these small ones are on the garland, and that's why I'm using this big one as the center for this wreath. And so we're just going to do a dry run and place it in here and see where we like it. This is another good coverage. Now see, there's a little piece torn here. I'm going to turn it. Look at that focal point. It doesn't look center for you guys, but I promise it's center. Right there. And so now we're going to start gluing. So I'm going to slap some glue all over the bottom of this. Not the front part, but this back part that I know is sticking to this burlap. That's where I'm going to start with. Need another glue stick. Ooh, smoking. And of course, if this is your first video watching, I always use Gorilla Hot Glue. I find that Walmart is the cheapest, but you can order it on Amazon if you are needing convenience or if your Walmart is out. All right, let's stick that in just like that. And that's so lightweight that that glue will hold it. But then I'm going to come in around these edges, and I'm just going to squirt some glue on here. That way, that mesh and greenery will also stick to it. All my points of contact, I'm coming in because I don't want this thing to go anywhere. And it's angled out just a little bit. Perfect eye appeal. Okay. So there is that one. And now we're going to start going in. Oh, this glitter. Oh. We're going to start going in with all of our little extras. I think first what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these leaves in. These came from Hobby Lobby. They are beautiful. They're in the floral section, but in the fall floral section. They're $4.99, 40% off. Very inexpensive. You get a lot out of them. They have a super good texture on them, so they're in a very elegant leaf. They don't look cheap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to take the pieces that are separate, and I'm going to start cutting those off. And there's not a lot of separate pieces on this bush, but that's fine because it keeps it nice and full. And we're just going to work it in a little bit. And I only have 2 of these, and that's probably all we're going to need because this is just going to be another base layer. Gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. I hate that I'm having to clear my throat so much. I'm on the healing end of this. I know it. In Texas, those pine trees just don't play. They are serious. All right, so we're just going to start working these in a little bit, seeing where I like it. Don't want to make it too big. On bigger things like this, that they're a filler, but they're still part of the show, I like to do a dry run on so that I'm not gluing it and being like, oh no, I don't want it to go there. We're going to angle the 2 big pieces this way. I have a 1 random leaf. We can place that in a minute. Let me cut this other piece up real quick. Oh, that's where that fell off. This one's dividing up a little easier. It's not as full. That's kind of disappointing. Those are angled down, so they're kind of falling off the wreath. Fall has to be one of my favorites just because you can put so many leaves into a design, and it's just so much coverage, inexpensive coverage, and it's just so beautiful because, you know, leaves falling. It's so beautiful. All right, we'll probably stick this last one up here. And so we got all this coverage for about $5. How great is that? I can find a place for it. There we go. I can come in, and I found where this leaf fell off of. So I'm gonna dab the smallest amount of glue on the end of it, stick it back on its little stem so that we can use it and not have to use it individually. And I think we're probably gonna use it in here, but I might wait just a little bit because I'm gonna place some other things in here. Actually, no, I'm gonna go ahead and place that because it's really cute. Okay, so now we're gonna go in and we're gonna glue everything down. Where I have it placed, I'm just gonna pull it out slightly, shoot some glue on it, and stick it back up in there. That way it stays in exactly the same place where it was, and I don't have too hard of a time getting it back in there. While I'm up here, I think I'm gonna take my gun and I'm gonna go ahead and try to glue this tail. Oh, hard glue again. And glue this loop. I'm gonna glue the tail down, and I'm just gonna put a dab of glue and glue it to the tail. I'm gonna hold it for just a second, and that way it always is standing at attention. Because especially with the humidity and everything, when it's on someone's front door, it's gonna fall over and you don't want it just hanging down. There we go, perfect. Okay, we're gonna finish gluing these down. All right, those are glued in. Next, I still have this garland of these pieces from Hobby Lobby that we used the other day. We're gonna take some of those and get those off in there. And on this garland, again, because they're so long, I'm gonna snip them off the garland, and then I'm probably gonna snip them in half as well. Because I don't need just a ton of coverage with these. I only want these to be little accents. And I'll probably go here. I can get it down in there. I don't want it sticking out too high. There we go. Yeah, we'll go there. We'll take one. Come over here. If you can, when you're working with your florals, you kind of want to go around your outside layer, but you want to bring some in. Because again, it gives it that detail, it gives it that dimension. This one doesn't have a place it's wanting to really sit. I don't know. I don't necessarily like the way it's fallen forward. So we might bring this one to the outside. Like so. There we go. So I'm still working off of this garland that I paid like what, 11, oh no, it's about $24 for. These come out to $4 per pick, and then I split the picks in half, $2 a pick. Very inexpensive. You have to make your supplies work for you. When you're hunting for supplies, try to find those supplies that are going to work for you. Try to look, when you're looking for picks, look for ones that you can get multiples out of. Because the less money that you have in this, the more money you can make off of it. I don't know where I'm wanting this one to go. It's all spread out all over the place. There we go. Just like that. Okay, let's glue these in. And a good way to tell how, when you're looking at a pick, when you pick it up and look at it, especially in the floral section, but when you're looking at it, turn it around and look at the back of the spine, because that's where everything is connected, and see how many twigs you get off of it, how many pieces separated out. Okay, that's enough of those. We have a few more things to add, guys, and we are done. Now, before I get too much in here, these pumpkins are also on the garland with the orange glitter ones. They came from Hobby Lobby. They were $3.99 and then 40% off. They're in the floral section, individual picks. Yeah, we're going to work those in there too. We want it coordinating. And make sure before you put something in, like this stem in the bottom of it's a little bit loose. So you definitely want to make sure that it's good. Yeah, we're going to work that one in right there. Super cute. I really like that. We're going to glue that stick, but then we're also going to come around here at that point of contact on the burlap and glue that to that burlap. And then we might just leave one. We could come here with two. Just bring it through. Finish it off like that. I think for now, I'm gonna leave in the one because I'm not really liking where the placement is of the other one. I feel like it might be too close here. So we're gonna place the rest of our stuff and we're gonna see. All right, I have a few additional leaves that we used the other day, $1.99, 40% off at Hobby Lobby. Y'all swear I'm not a spokesperson for them, but their stuff is so inexpensive that you'd be crazy to pass it up. Only when it's 40% off, not when it first comes out and it's full price. That's such good go-to pieces. We're just going to use these to fill in some holes. Just like that. And again, that way it looks like your pumpkin's coming out of its little patch and it's not just sitting on top of your wreath. These are such a good inexpensive filler. I just love leaves for fall designs. I love them. Got in a little bit. There we go. Let's see. We'll do one more up behind that bow. It's looking a little bare up there. Oh yeah, that's so perfect. So perfect. And I think we might, well, I didn't bring any more to the table. Whoopsie. That's okay. We're going to put in some berries. These came from Hobby Lobby. $4.99, but you get 3 of them off the stem. So, perfect example. That way, you're using one $4.99 piece in your whole design, basically. See, this is the full stem, and you separate it. See that back? So there's the main one, and then you get 2 off of it. random humming. I'll try not to do that the whole time because I don't want to just listen to me hum, especially when you don't even know what I'm humming. Oh, I got spider webs everywhere. Spider webs. Okay, I think we might, no. It's gonna come in here. And then we'll bring one down here to bring it down. And again, these are all coordinating pieces that I have in the garland that's going with it. That's how I'm deciding on my decorations on this one. But honestly, this is how I would design a fall wreath anyway. Okay. Now I also got this from Hobby Lobby. I don't remember how much it was, but I want to say $4.99. And it came with 3 of these leaves on a stem, because I wanted to draw that glitter out of that pumpkin and not be the only glittery thing in there. It's just a big giant leaf. So I know I have 3, so I need to make sure where I want these placed. So I'm thinking, do one coming out of here, like this. And we'll do one coming out of here somewhere. Not too close to the pumpkin because it's too much glitter. Do one coming out of here like this. Just a little layered effect. And then we'll get one going here up top. That way we have a good triangle going with these 3 pieces. I can get this mesh out of the way. And they're flexible too, so they don't just stand in there. They kind of fold around it, which I like. All right, so we're gonna glue this one in. Get them all glued in. Okay, and again, Hobby Lobby, they're like glittered berries. I cut these off of a stem. I think 7 of them came off a stem. I think it was like $6.99, I want to say. And so I'm going to add a few of these because these are just going to coordinate with the garland, because these are coming, these are on the garland. It's the only reason I'm adding these. And she wanted fall traditional, but also like fall glam. So we're adding our bits of glam. So that was a good hole there. I think this is a good hole here. That needs something. And those kind of diagonal each other. So for good placement. I think we're going to, hit one up here. In this little bare spot. Just a little pop up there. I have one more. Like I said, you don't have to do odd numbers unless you just want to. And these little pieces like this, you really can't tell because they're just little accents. Just like that. I think that looks so perfect. I have some orange flowers. I don't know if I'm going to add those in or not. I have a few bare places it looks like they could go. I don't know if she's going to want these though. Let me see. Here, like so. They kind of almost, they're a flower, but they almost look like the leaves. Oh, we're right at 1 hour and we are done. How about that? So exciting. I try not to keep you guys all day. If you want, just hit that little 10-second fast forward every time. If you want to get past the boring stuff sometimes. Oh no, let's see. And these are just final touches. These are little details that you do not have to do. Just little details. Not necessarily feeling it up there. If anything, I would have put it down here. I don't know. I think I'm going to leave them off. You don't know. I don't know. You might see this picture later and see them on there. You never know. Sometimes you just got to walk away from it. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you have a great Monday, a great week. I can't wait for our next tutorial this week. I don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be something fun. Probably something Halloween. Ooh, actually it might be a pumpkin topiary. I don't know. Lots of ideas, but I will see you guys later this week. Thank you again for coming. Thank you for joining. Have a great day. Have fun. Message me with any questions you have. Bye, guys.